explain point by point the demands that have been made by Iran. Now, what is Iran saying? Now, Iran has put out this 10-point plan. Proposal number one for Iran is permanently end to the war. There can be no temporary truce. We're going to graphically explain. Let's put that out here. So we told you about the first point proposal. The second point proposal by Iran, as per media reports, is that Israeli strikes must stop, and they must stop in Lebanon as well. Third proposal that has been given by Iran is that they have to lift all sanctions. Now let's go across to the next point proposal that has been given by Iran. The fourth proposal in this 10-point proposal is that there should be no attacks on Iran-backed allies. We've told you about the fourth point. Fifth point, full seizure of all, full ceasefire, beg your pardon, full ceasefire on all fronts, guarantees against future attacks. Point number 7, 2 million fee per ship passing via Hormuz. So yes, they continue to say that there will be a fee that will be levied for ships that are passing via the strait, and sharing of the fee with Oman. Point number 9 is safe passage guarantee system. And point number 10 is rebuild infrastructure using transit revenue. So this is the 10-point proposal that Iran has put out. And Iran here is talking about, one, lifting of all US sanctions, no more attacks in Lebanon by Israel, total strike to the attacks, and no other future attacks. Will United States agree to this proposal? Let's now get you more breaking news that's coming in. And we have breaking news here. It is US President Donald Trump who has once again given out an ultimatum, and we have some reports suggesting that that there could be a delay in Trump's plan. He may delay the attack if he sees a deal. So Iran is talking about a 10-point proposal. Trump could delay the attack on Iran if he sees real signs of a deal on the horizon, and he alone holds the decision to begin destroying Iran's infrastructure. Now, going back to Srinjoy Chaudhary, my colleague who's also with us. Srinjoy, on one hand, we have reports coming in from Israel that for now, Donald Trump is not interested to end this war just yet. He wants an exit, but he wants it on his terms. Number two, there are also sources who are indicating that he could delay the attacks on Iran if he sees some signs of a deal. What do you make of these signals that are coming in from the Western media?
First of all, the fact that all this is being done before the whole world makes it more difficult to do a deal. If you were going to do a deal, it is better to talk below radar. That's the first thing, and neither side has done it. Now, even though it's difficult, the president wants a deal, which is why he's delayed this bomb into Iran, into the Stone Age business for quite a while. He's delayed this bombing proposal by about 4 or 5 days already. Now it expires perhaps tomorrow morning. Now we have 20 hours. And as I said earlier, if he is serious about the deal, and if he believes that his vice president, J.D. Vance, can do it, then naturally he will hold back a little bit, because that's what's been talked about. If the president sees the possibility of a deal, then he'll hold back. But the vice president has to be given an opportunity. He has to get involved. Now, if he hasn't got involved and 20 hours are left, then how much time are you giving him? How much of a chance are you giving your own vice president?
A little less than 20 hours, Srinjoy, 19 hours and 18 minutes to be precise. And now we have more information coming in. What is Israel's strategy as Donald Trump talks about escalation? So Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also warned US President Donald Trump, and he said that there must be no ceasefire with Iran right now. He told him that you should not agree to a ceasefire with Iran at this stage in the war. And he also said that this is what senior Israeli officials have been telling the media in Israel. Now, this is a report that's also coming hours after Pakistan tried to broker a draft proposal for a temporary 45-day ceasefire, and this proposal was then submitted to both Washington and Tehran for consideration. Iran, we know, has rejected that proposal and has demanded nothing less than permanent ceasefire, while Donald Trump continues to refer to his ultimatum for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. You remember the language that he used, this weekend. Open the dash strait, you crazy dash. And we have former diplomat KP Fabian also joining us on this broadcast. What's going to happen next? Is there going to be ceasefire? Is there going to be hellfire, Mr. KP Fabian? What do you make of the statements coming in from the United States as the clock now keeps ticking?
Thank you for the question. Very well formulated. Well, unfortunately, the hellfire is more likely than the ceasefire, though, of course, it is foolish to predict because such things depend on so many factors one is not aware of. But let me make one or 2 points. One, President Trump is not serious about diplomacy. Because if you want diplomacy, you do not go on threatening the other side publicly and giving deadlines. By giving deadlines, he is making it difficult for the Iranian leadership to agree to anything at all, because then they will be seen as surrendering in the eyes of the people. That's point number one. Point number two, as you mentioned, Prime Minister Netanyahu doesn't want a ceasefire. Now the question is, how much influence he has over President Trump. And I have been arguing for quite some time that there is an Epstein angle to it, that the operations which Epstein was conducting in the United States, perhaps there was a foreign intelligence agency behind it, and perhaps it was Mossad, in which case Mossad has a full file, apart from the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice has been redacting. Then when you redact, there is a trace that you have taken it out. And now it will be under pressure from the Congress to come out with release more material. Now, it is possible, I am not speaking with evidence, that Mossad has the technology to delete without leaving any trace. In which case, there is a way in which Netanyahu can, let me put it this way, influence President Trump. I'm using the word influence for, deliberately. So that is another thing. And third thing is about Iran. Iran has said that it would ask its people to go to the bridges and plan power plants and stay there. Now, if they do it, I do not know. I'm completing. I do not know. But let me tell you that in 76, 79, when I was there in Iran as First Secretary, there were 140 men dressed in white, the shroud. And they used to say, we will take the bullets. You people should run away.
And that is why, Mr. Fabian, we've been seeing over the last 39 days how Iran has struck a defiant note. We've also seen how, when it comes to information warfare or narrative warfare, everything that's playing out on social media, every day Iran is brutally trolling and roasting US President Donald Trump, even as he talks about bombing their power plants, bombing their bridges, talks about, completely wiping out Iran, and all it would take is one night. That is what Donald Trump has been saying. Thank you so much, Mr. Fabian, for joining us. Now, viewers, let's take you through the overnight strikes that have taken place. Let's show you the pictures that have come in. In Saudi Arabia, we have reports coming in of explosions. These are the pictures coming in from Baghdad in Iraq. Then you can see the aftermath of a strike in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and also in Kuwait. We've been getting you pictures of how in the last few days an oil refinery was, in the last 48 hours itself, an oil refinery was struck. So in the last 48 hours itself, there has been no end to the bombings, the strikes, and this is the evidence. Footage coming in from Saudi Arabia, footage coming in from Baghdad in Iraq, footage coming in from Tel Aviv, footage coming in from Kuwait. So this is, there's no end to the escalation. And now there is more news coming in. We have some breaking news at this point of time about how a key bridge that links Saudi Arabia to the island of Bahrain has closed over threat. So this is a bridge that links Saudi to Bahrain currently that has been shut. This is the King Fahd Causeway that has been shut amid threats. So latest pictures of the bridge. Srinjoy Chaudhary also continues to stay with us. No end to the strikes. This time a bridge has been shut. Srinjoy, not for a moment did we see any kind of ceasefire. Even after Donald Trump spoke about a pause, a 5-day reset, the bombings continue. Donald Trump from day one has been saying we are winning this war, but the scenes on the ground are painting a completely different story.
When President Trump spoke of a pause, he spoke of a pause. Israel didn't agree. So once Israel continued to strike, Iran also continued to strike. So that fighting went on and targets were identified and struck. Now you've spoken about the King Fahd Causeway. It's a huge road linking Bahrain to Saudi Arabia. Now, if you strike that, it leads to serious damage. Now, this is something both sides are really worried about, because even though it's not been said public, if you're going to strike infrastructure, whether it's a road, a highway, a bridge, a desalination plant, an oil refinery, even an oil well, the repercussions will be tremendous. The repercussions will not just affect the Gulf region. The repercussions will affect much of the world, because this is very serious business. Of course, this has been done before.
Right.
I mean, dams have been struck in the past. Whole dams have been struck, like the Moor and so on. But if this happens, if oil wells are hit, in fact, the Iraqis did it in Kuwait. They just set fire to oil wells when they left. It causes enormous problems,
right.
Environmental, economic, other problems as well. So we have to see how this plays out, because if you're going to strike bridges and power plants on one side, the other side, which has been warned that this will be happening, is ready.
And in the latest, King Fahd Causeway, which is a key bridge that links Saudi Arabia to the island of Bahrain, has been closed over threats from the Iranian attack. Now, let's also shift our focus to the Strait of Hormuz, which has become the biggest hurdle in Donald Trump's plans. Now, US President Donald Trump also said that reopening the Strait of Hormuz is a very, very big priority. And he also added that it does not take much for Iran to be able to obstruct traffic in the channel. Now, let's talk about the disruptions in Gulf oil exports as the Strait of Hormuz remains shut. The latest numbers that we are going to show you shows a significant drop for most countries compared to March last year. Let's talk about Saudi Arabia's oil exports. It fell from 181.8 million barrels in March 2025 to 136 barrels this March. When it comes to Kuwait, Kuwait also saw a sharp decline from 45.5 million to just 8.7 million barrels. The UAE shipments also dropped from 94.5 million to about 66 million barrels. And when it comes to Iraq, Iraq also experienced a dramatic fall from 101.7 million to about 17.4 million barrels. And Oman's exports also were slightly lower at about 29.1 million barrels, which were down from about 32 million. Let's now listen into what Donald Trump has said.
Are you willing to make a deal that does not include reopening the Strait of Hormuz, or is that now a top priority?
I would say it's a very big priority because, see, that's one thing that's a little different than other things. We can bomb the hell out of them. We can knock them out for a loop. But to close the strait, all you need is one terrorist that somehow has a truck loaded with, because you can carry them in trucks, large trucks, a water mine, drop them in the water, and now you tell people that own ships that cost $1 billion to don't worry about the mine. You can do that even just by saying we put mines in the water.
Now, viewers, we are going to once again explain the numbers to you. We are talking about these major disruptions in Gulf oil exports, and here we are going to tell you about how Hormuz continues to remain shut. Now, these are the latest numbers that you are seeing on your screens, and we are talking about the significant drop for most countries compared to March last year. Let's start with Saudi Arabia, where the oil exports fell from 181.8 million barrels in March 2025 to about 136 million barrels this March. Now, what happened in Kuwait? In Kuwait, there was a sharp decline from 45.5 million to 8.7 million barrels. The UAE shipments also dropped from about 94.5 million to 66 million barrels. And while Iraq also experienced a dramatic fall from 101.7 million to 17.4 million barrels. Oman's exports also were slightly lower at about 29.1 million barrels to about 32 million barrels. And Qatar, when we're talking about Qatar, it fell from 23.8 million to 5.6 million barrels. Iran's exports remained relatively stable at 57.4 million barrels, slightly down to about 58.5 million from last year. So yes, there has been a huge impact. With that, it's time for us to take a short commercial break. We'll be back, viewers, with more news, updates and analysis.